Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie, has been performing well in theaters over the past week, but I wanted to go back to the past and talk about the Switch port of the very first Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Genesis. At the time, Sonic propelled the Sega Genesis into a major player on the console gaming scene. How does this Switch eShop port hold up, and how does the overall game hold up in today's gaming world? Well, before I get into the game, I want to gripe about the menu interface for a little bit. It's the same menu style used in Virtua Racing port on Switch. Both games are part of the Sega Ages series, and I guess that explains why the menu looks the same as it does on Virtua Racing. With that said, I still feel it's kinda lazy and takes away from the uniqueness of each game. Now let's get into the game itself. Because of its limited color palette, Sega Genesis games generally did not stand out in terms of colors. In fact, most of them appeared kind of dull compared to games found on SNES. However, there are exceptions such as Green Hill Zone, where everything just pops out. What also stands out is the border wallpaper. It is very 90s-esque with white, red, and green colors and random shapes in the background, and the style makes sense given the time period. If players get tired of this wallpaper, they can change it in the menu, although there are not many other options available and none of the alternatives stand out in terms of style. Of course, what makes this game different than Mario and other platformers is the sense of speed, and Green Hill Zone encourages the use of speed. I've seen newer Sonic players overthink some of these early enemies and stop at each one, which is a mistake. In Green Hill Zone, players need to go fast while jumping at the appropriate moments, or they can also roll into a ball in order to break through certain walls for a quick shortcut. Just go fast in this level. In later levels, players cannot simply go fast and they need to think more about what's ahead. For example, Spring Yard Zone will slow down Sonic with its different bumpers and moving platforms that go up and down. One zone later in Labyrinth Zone, the water will definitely slow Sonic down, and players will need to stay patient and look for air bubbles, otherwise Sonic will drown. It's a difficult zone to get through, especially for those who haven't played this game before, but it's fair enough. At least the music is excellent in Labyrinth Zone, as it is throughout the entire game. Sonic the Hedgehog still offers an excellent soundtrack and time has not diminished its great quality. My personal favorite zone is Starlight Zone, which has a pretty background full of stars and offers more relaxing music that remains catchy while moving along at a good pace. I'm terrible at describing music, but the point is this theme fits the Starry Night atmosphere perfectly. The levels in Starlight Zone flow smoothly too and offer a nice mix of going fast mixed with slowing down. Whenever I play this zone, I find myself wanting to just chill and hang around. The one major difference in gameplay is that players can also use a spin dash, where the player holds down and presses the jump button in order to build up speed as a rolling spinning hedgehog. Originally, this maneuver was introduced in Sonic 2, but it still fits here. What do I think about the boss fights? Most of them are simple enough to beat, although I wonder if I think that way because I've played this game a million times since it came out. Even the last boss feels a little too easy considering it's the end of the game, but again though, anyone who practices any game for endless hours as a kid will probably find it easy today. One minor annoyance is that X works as a start button in this game, while the plus button on the Switch controller works as a menu button to get back to the start of the game interface. Over time I got used to it, but it would be better if the pause button was the plus button, and maybe the menu button would be mapped to the minus button on the left instead of the plus button. It's a minor gripe with this Switch port. Another negative point is the lack of a full screen option that doesn't stretch out the screen. There are options to take you around with the screen, but there's no way to play the game full screen borderless without the screen being messed up. I guess Sonic fans will need to buy Sonic Origins if they want a full screen HD version of Sonic. To counter those negatives, one positive addition to this version of Sonic is the save feature. This is a huge help to everyone. Sonic is the perfect type of game to play while waiting to do something else because of its speed and simple gameplay design. Sonic only runs, jumps, and uses a spin dash. Players can pick up Sonic 1 while sitting bored in an airport, save the game when it's time to get on a plane, and then pick up the rest of Sonic 1 another time. Overall, the Switch port of Sonic 1 is still Sonic, and experienced Sonic fans and new ones alike will enjoy its speed, catchy music, and solid gameplay design. I will give it a 9 out of 10.